So let's just do two types with a door. So we have this one. Let me show you. And why don't we just get this? So in the previous collection, we have this wooden wall 1, and we can just shift D and click, and we get this wooden wall 1 collection. We have this wooden wall 1, and we can just shift D and click, and we get this wooden wall 1 and call it door. And then scene collection, right click, new collection, and we call this one wooden walls door, so that we have two types. And then we can just drag this one in and inside the previous one, so that we only have that. Okay. A door, maybe we should have something like so since this is like 2 meters in height, of course we are going to scale everything a little bit more later, so it depends. This is not really a big problem, but a door we should have also a cube to cut this one out, and then you can snap on the increment GZ, and then we just move it up like so. Then let's make this smaller. Of course, you can also just in edit mode scale this one, this, as Shift Z, you can scale this one like so, so that this is still snapped, and then we can just click on this and GZ and scale it down like so. Turn off the snapping, and maybe you want to have something like this, which should be fine for a door. And then make sure that in object mode, Control A, and then all transforms. And let me press N, so I can reveal my keys when I press, so I don't need to tell you every single step. Just check when I press on the bottom left. And then you can go to the you click on this duplicated wall again, modifiers, and then let's just get generate bool, and then we click on this one, so the wall again, and we pick this, and then we can we can click on the fast solver, and this is basically it. So you can just hover over here inside object mode and Control A. So this is pretty fast. And then let's just leave this one, because we can use it for the next door. Okay. And now we need to take care of those things here. So now this has been cut. Let me see this. Let me just quickly see if this is an n-gon. It is not. Okay. But if you go back, Control Z, and we go back again. Let me just cut this one again, so we can hide this. And then inside here, Control I, so we only have those things we just cut. So this is new topology now. We didn't have this before. So when we go to UV editing, he's already doing a cut, and so we can see that those things, except for this long stuff here, but mainly those small planks on the side here, they need to be triangled. So Control T. Then we can also just U and unwrap angle based, and then you go to UV editing, and then you can see when we just press G that those things are now properly aligned. So when we go to sync selection, let's check this one and this one. And we need to rotate them, because when we just check this piece, this triangle here, and then we click the next one, we know that the fiber should go from here. So this, according to our UVs, vertically. So our fibers would go like so, which is perfectly fine. But what we can do here is we select everything, and one approach would be average island scale. All right, and then you press A again, and then UV, and then you pack islands, but without the rotation, as I told you. And then you have something like this. Now you can see this one is fine. And when we, for example, when we click on this, I think we don't see this. Let me check. Where is it? Okay, so those things we don't really need to pay much attention, because we're never gonna see them. We can even just delete them, so we're really never gonna see them, but we will just keep it just to make sure that we are not having like gaps later. But we're never really gonna see them, so this is perfectly fine for us. Okay, so now this is fixed. We can also just apply the same material, just get this checkerboard, and in shader preview, we can see that everything looks quite alright. Now, what I want to do here, I think we don't really need to do that. I explain to you, but let me just remove this. This is pretty useless. Yeah, we can just get rid of this. So X-ray, and then we can just get rid of this. So yeah, what you can see here, this is still an N-gon. This is fine. So again, what you can see, what you can do, just to make sure, you can click on select and then select all by trade, faces by sides, and then we want to have something which is greater than 4. So if it's greater than 4, you can see those things they are not faces. So Control T, and then you can also just see it right here. The UVs are fine. Okay, so the UVs are perfectly fine and they follow the same direction. But just make sure that those things are triangulated. And you always check this by select this object, and then you go in edit mode, select similar, or in this case all by trade, and you want to count the faces by sides. And this needs to be greater than 4. Then he's just filtering out and selecting automatically every single face which is not basically a face which has 4 sides or 4 vertices, you can say, but it has more, and this will lead us to problems inside Unreal Engine. So always make sure that this has at least triangles or polygons, which are 4 vertices. Triangles have 3 vertices, of course. Good, and then we can just repeat this process, and we do that. Yeah, now I can delete this because I don't really want that. Sorry for that. So now we can delete this because I don't want this like small thing here. Looks weird. In the end, it doesn't really matter because we will always use like this stone surface, and also like to give the door later when we want to have a door, I will give it some depth here, so we can put a plank here, wooden plank, and here, so we get a little depth. And the same thing we can also do for the windows. So we can just play around. Now we get the next door. So let me go back to the walls. In this case, I do wall 2. Or we can maybe just get this wall. No, let's do this wall. So wooden wall 2, Shift D and click, and then you can just drag it inside the new selection, which is called wooden wall door. And we just rename this to wooden wall 2 door. And then we can reveal the cube again. At the same time with the wooden wall door 2. We can also in shader preview, material preview, get the checkerboard, and then you can see what's going on here. And now let's get this wall another boolean, and we pick this cube, and this needs to be fast. And then we can just Shift A, apply this, and then we can delete this cube. Yeah, I think we don't need it anymore as for doors. Let's just hide this. And just to be safe, we can call this one door cut. Okay, just to make sure, we can just drag it out to our scene collection. So now we have we can use this later as a boolean, as a door cut, just in case. Because it has the exact same dimension and this exact same location. So now, as for the wooden wall, door. Okay, so this didn't really work. Let me see yeah. It didn't cut properly. Okay, so what we need to do, we can do the boolean again, but we can also just get rid of this. And we can get, yeah, so we can just solve this problem. just by deleting this on the bottom here manually. And now you can see it's perfect. It's the same, it has the same dimension. And then at the same time, we can also go back to edit mode here. And then we can go select or by trait in faces by sides greater than 4. And those are the things which are not clean. And then we can just Control T, triangulate them. And when we check the UV editing, you can see everything is fine. So for example, if we click on this one here and this, yeah, this is perfectly fine. So now we can just select everything by pressing A, UV, and then pack islands without the rotation. So now we have that. And then we can get rid of this thing here, which is, let me focus, frame selected. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, so this is, okay, so there is no, okay. Yeah, what we can do, because there's no face, it's just an edge. So what you can do, we go to edge mode, select those things, X, and then we delete the edges. And we need to delete this edge as well. And we need to delete this edge. Oh, sorry, this is not an edge. This is just the X-axis, I thought. But this is fine, okay. And we can, if we want to, we don't really need, but we can also just close that if you want. So you click on this, and this one inside, and just press F. And then you click on this, shift click this, F. Okay. And we get this one and this one. We can also just Alt, Shift click, and this one Alt, Shift click. So the whole loop is selected, press F, and then Control T, because this is an n-gon. And now it's triangulated, and we can go to UV editing. You can see it's all over the place. So what we can do here, we select this, and also you can just press 3 and then hover over this, L. I'm sorry, this is not really working in this case. So we get this one, and we get this one. Just shift click, and then U unwrap angle based. And then again, now it's overlapping here. Press A again, UV, pack islands without rotation, pack. And now everything is packed and clean. And then we can also get the checkerboard texture. It is already applied, just to make sure. And then viewport shading. And now you can see the sides, everything is fine. We have no stretch, everything has the right scale, and we can see it has the right direction. So those wooden planks are all vertically aligned. Good. So now we have two types of doors. So we can minimize everything and then Control S, so save. And we want to proceed. So now we can focus on concrete wall, which is much easier because it's just a flat cube. We can use. Yeah, so why don't we just do that? Let's get a plane. So Shift A, mesh, we get a plane. And then R, X, 90. Turn on the snapping on increment, press 1, G, Z, and just move it up. So it's snapped perfectly on. So that we are laying on top of the X and Y axis. And so what we can do now is, for example, just extrude it, turn off the snapping, just extrude. Give it some depth, it's fine. I think this is enough. Control A, all transforms in object mode. Make sure you always do that before you bevel. So you can select everything in wireframe so you can see a little better. And then Control B, and we can add an additional edge loop, but just scroll up. Okay, and then you have like 3 loops. But this is something we don't really need, but we just want to make sure that this is smooth. So Alt Shift click this one, Alt Shift click this one, Alt Shift click this one and this one. So you know this already. Always the same stuff for UVs. This one, so the edge and the center here, and we Alt Shift click this and this and this. we all shift click this. All right. And then U mark seam. Let me all transforms again. And then press A again, and then we can just unwrap this angle based. And this is already it. So then we have like one type. Let's see, we need like, yeah, I said we only need one type. And I think this is fine. We can also do, if you want to, get this and cut this one in half. So before we do that, sorry, let's just shift, we call this one concrete wall, get a new collection, call this collection concrete wall, put this one inside, and then we can just shift D and click, hide the previous one, so we only have this one here, and then just insert an edge loop, just Control R and double click, so it's in the center, and then we can get this one, you can click here, press 3, click here, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus. Now you can delete this, so that we have just maybe like a smaller shape, and then you can close this one. So in this case, you can just click this, F, click this, F, this one and this one. Also fill, and then just this one and this, fill, and this one, fill. Okay. And then you can just get this loop here. So the loop we just created. Okay, only the top. And we can also bevel that by 2. But I think this is not, so the sides they will not be really clean. I mean, we can just leave it like so if you want to. Or what we can do, yeah, there's a different approach. So what you also can do, let's just get rid of this top part. So select, so press 3, press 1, and turn on the X-ray, and then you can just select the top, delete this, so we get rid of this, and then you can press 1 again, and you only get the bottom part, like so, with the bevel, and then you can just shift the middle mouse button, drag it up, and then RX 180. So this is now flipped perfectly, G, Z, and you can put it on top. And then you can turn on the snapping on vertex, and then just G, Z, and put it here. And just move it up. And if you have trouble really connecting it, just turn off the snapping, move it up, and then hover over here, G, Z, and put it here. Then, of course, this is not really connected, so press A, M by distance. Now you can see we removed 12 vertices, which means we basically removed those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the other one. Yeah. We just removed loose vertices, and they are now connected. Good. So this is like one approach we can do. Then we need to select everything again in edit mode. U, and then unwrap angle based. And now this is perfect for us. Okay. So now we have 2 different dimensions of this concrete wall. So we call this one concrete wall 2. So what else do we need? We need a concrete wall with a door and 2 types with window. So let's just get the previous one, and let's enable this door cut here. Yeah, and then we can get a boolean, generate a bool, and we click on this cube. In this case, you can see exact works best. Okay, so you can see this is working like a charm, and then we can just apply that. Hide this cube again. So it was smart to just save this door cut, actually. Good, and then let's do the solid view, and then you can just Control I, so we only select like the newly created topology. but we also need to select this one, to be honest. And then we can Control T and U. Let's see. We don't really need, it's already laid out. So R, Control, and spin. And then you can press A, UV, and pack islands without rotation, pack. And now you can see this is perfectly fine for us. Okay. So now we have a concrete wall and with door. And I forgot to duplicate this, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to duplicate this. Sorry for that. Let's call this one concrete wall door. This is pretty stupid what I did. But in this case, Shift D, click. Let's only reveal this. Let's drag out the wall door. So let's focus on the duplication here. And we can just fix this by select or by traits, and, by faces, and then Control I. This is not really working. Select. Again, select or by trait, faces by sides. Oh yeah. We need to triangulate this, sorry. We need to triangulate this. So of course this is an angle. I didn't pay attention to that. Let's see the UV editing, but this is perfectly fine now. Yeah, everything is good. And let's do this with the, sorry, now it's a little messed up here. Let's do the same thing with the concrete wall door. Just deselect everything, select all by trait, faces by sides greater than 4, and Control T. So now we go back to our concrete wall 2. We just duplicate it, and then we can call this one concrete wall. Since this is triangulated, let's just get rid of this. Okay, let's just get rid of this thing, and we just do a new one. So Shift A. It's a little like tedious process. I didn't pay much attention to that, so we need to do it again, unfortunately. So G, Z, just because I forgot to duplicate. It's pretty annoying. And let's do again. So this is the same dimension. We do this. All transforms. Press A, and then B, Control L, Control B, and just bevel. Shade smooth. Get this one, this, wireframe is better to see, and this, no, not this one, and this, and this, and we get this, and this, and this, and we get this, and this, and this, and this. U, mark seam, select everything, U, unwrap angle base, check the UV, and let's get those things, press 3, get those things, make them smaller, select everything, UV, and we pack islands without rotation. Yeah, just undo that, because this is like the biggest we can get for both sides. Because it's a perfect square, we cannot make this bigger. Okay, so now we have the concrete wall. The first version of that. Now we get a new collection, and we call this one concrete wall door, and we get the concrete wall door inside. And now we get the same thing, but for window, 2 types. So scene collection, new collection, concrete wall window. So inside there we get, let's duplicate this concrete wall, this one, So we duplicate this, Shift D, click. We drag this inside the concrete wall window. We hide the previous one. So we only reveal the concrete wall window. Concrete wall window is the name. And then let's do another cube. Press 1 and just scale it down. Then in this case, maybe scale it up. Then you can be creative here. So you can have this shape, but you also can have this shape maybe. But you also can have maybe like a double door, but double window. But in my case, I will just go with this. All right, I will just go with this, and then Control A, all transforms. Then we click on this, we get a bool, generate a boolean, and we click on the cube, and so it doesn't really matter. It can be exact, and then apply. Let's rename this cube to window cut and move it outside to the scene collection. Hide this, go into solid view, and just select, now everything is selected. Just select this inner thing here. All right. We can also, if you want to, make this bigger, so, more depth. So select it like so. Sorry, this is not really smart. Press 7, X-ray, and then get the back side. The back face is like so. Disable X-ray, and then you can see we only have the back side with including the bevel. And then G, Y, and just give it more depth. Yeah, give it more depth. It's going to look much better when we have a window inside. Okay. Now let's check Alt-Shift-Click inside. So we have this loop which has been cut. And now we can see it is perfectly fine, but we can also just, for the sake of it, rotate it. Since this will be, this is not going to be wood, so this is not really important, but still we want to rotate this and pack islands without rotation here and pack. Okay, so now we have that. This is the concrete wall window, and now we get another type, concrete wall. Let's get the first concrete wall. Let's reveal that. Only this. Shift D, click, put this duplication into the concrete wall window. Only reveal the thing we just duplicated. And we call this one concrete wall window 2. So we have two different types. And in this case, let me reveal the window cut. So this is the one we already have. And now we can just maybe scale this like so. Or maybe just scale this on all axes, maybe. Just make it smaller. But no. I want to have the same height. So let's just scale this on X. Like so. And maybe let's go into object mode, edit mode, and get those things. So top and bottom, S, Z, and do like so. Because I want to have like a double window. Yeah, let's do something like this. And then we can just put this one here in object. So in object mode, you can do that, but you can see this is moving, right? And when we mirror it, it's not really going to work. So also what you can do instead, you can just move it in edit mode. So press A, press 1, you have a perfect top view, front view, G, X, and then you can move it here. So this just means that your pivot point is still in the center, which is pretty important. And then we can just get a mirror modifier. So I just have this on my quick favorites, but you can just go here and add a mirror modifier. So if you want to assign something to your Q button, so this is just your quick favorites, you can just hover over it anywhere you want, or maybe your modifier, you can just hover over it here, subdivision, right click, and then you can add to quick favorites. Okay, you can do that. In this case, I did it with the mirror. Press Q and just assign the mirror. And it's on the X-axis. So this is perfectly fine for us. And then we can see, is this alright? So we can also just scale this one down if you want to, and then move it up. So, but in my case, I think this is fine. And then we can click on this wall, this concrete wall, and we get a Boolean, generate a Boolean, and let's see the X-ray. Click on this cube with the pen. Let me just think for a minute. Oh yeah, sorry. Let's apply the mirror first, and then just click on this cube. Good. Let's do exact apply. Now we can just remove this one. We don't need the window anymore. Deselect or disable the X-ray. And then you can Alt-Shift-Click here, Alt-Shift-Click here. You unwrap angle-based, go to UV editing. And now you see, this is really weird. It's not really going to work. So what you need to do is you can cut this. So in 2, you can mark those seams. This is what you can do. But instead, you can also just press 3, get this one, this. You unwrap angle based. At the same time, let's scale this one down. And if you're not sure about the size, you can just go inside here. So this is the window. And then you can just scale this like so. And then you have the right scale inside the window here. Just put it here. And then you do this one, shift click this, shift click this, shift click this, you unwrap angle based. And then you can also just scale this one down. But I made a mistake. This one needs to have the size like this. Okay. And those things here, like the horizontal part, you can just do like so and scale this one like so. And then we can just realign the rotation to be vertically. Press A, UV, and then pack islands without rotation. Perfect. Okay. So now we have this concrete wall with window 2, so we have 2 types. All right. Now let's hide everything and Control S. So next thing we need to do 3 doors. Yeah, let's just do that. Why not? Just having like 3 doors is fine. 3 types. Let me check the let me check Japanese doors. Let me check the Japanese door. Okay, so I think this is like a traditional Japanese door type. I think we can just use a wooden frame. Yeah, let's just do that. So, let's get the door cut. Let's get so just reveal the door cut. Shift A, get a plane, rotate this plane, RX90, press 1, reveal and enable the increment. Drag it up, and then let's do what we can do. Press 1. Let's go to the vertex snapping. Let's snap this in perfect front view. So make sure you press 1 in perfect front view. Let's snap it here. Snap it here. This one. Snap it to this corner. Let's snap it to this corner, and then we can just hide the door cut. So now you think like, okay, what is going on? This we need to fix. So reveal the door cut again. Press 7. And then X. And we can... sorry for that. So this is weird. Just select those things. Okay. Those 3 vertices. And you can put them here. Just snap it on top. On the top when you press 7. Now we can hide the door cut. Press 3 for face. And now we can in object mode, Control A, all transforms, and then we can put this one, click on this, object, set origin to 3D cursor. That doesn't make sense. Geometry to origin, like so. So now this is snapped on the y-axis, but we go to increment snapping, and then G, Z, and we snap it here. So the reason why this is a little bigger now is because we beveled the cube. This is the reason. So for us, this is perfectly fine. Let's just all transforms again. And then we can just get this edge, press 2, we can get this edge and just snap it. Turn off the snapping actually, and just do something like this. And we get this, and we just snap it here. Not really snap, we move it. And this one, shift click, this one, and then S, X, hold shift and just drag it until it's on top of this grid. So now we have a perfect door, Control A again. This one, Control A, draw transforms. We want to have a door, right? You can also, just a tip, you can also select everything or press A, then 7. When you're not really sure that everything is really straight, in this case it is, but maybe it's not really straight for you, you can just S, Y, 0, enter, just to make sure. So then everything, everything which is on Y, so from here to here, is perfectly aligned. So now let's see those doors. So basically what we're just going to do is, we get like a frame, and we just get some space in between, and then yeah, let's do something like this. So this could be like our reference as a glass maybe. So now what we can do, let's insert an edge loop here. So maybe we want to have a door, and maybe we want to have this to be wood, and then we want to put an edge loop in the center, Control B, only 2. And we want to have something like this. And then also here. Okay. And then let's click this and this, Control I, and then we can just extrude this one. Okay. And then at the same time, we can just Control R, and maybe let's get 4 different things, bevel them, and then let's just press 3, get this, and then we just extrude them as well. So this is something we can do. Let's get rid of the glass because it's distracting us. We don't need this for now. Later we can just add a glass plane. This is no big deal. But for now, we have a door. And what we can do in object mode, all transforms, select everything. Let's try to bevel that. So maybe 3 times. Shade smooth. Now you can see we have a problem here. I try to get rid of this problem, but what we actually need, so the reason why doors sometimes, even if it's like it looks so how should I say, so easy, but sometimes it can be a pain in the butt, especially when you bevel, because yeah, doors sometimes they are not really that easy. You have to consider a lot of things. So what we can do here, this is not really clean. I don't want to bevel everything at the same time. Let's undo that, the bevel stuff. And then we can get this, just shift click this, shift click this, shift click this, and we need to separate this P selection, and let's just hide that. And also, let me undo that, sorry. And also we need this. So let's get this whole inner thing, P selection, just hide this for now, and we only take care of this. So what you can do, go to the edge select, get this. We don't need it anymore. And we wanna select those things. We don't need it anymore. Then X, dissolve edges. And those are actually faces. So just click on them. Or click on those. And then just delete those faces. So now you have a clean frame. Control A, all transforms, and then press A, and then you can Control B, and then you can bevel it. Then shade smooth. So now this is good. Yeah, this is fine. And we want to do UVs. So in this case, we need to cut here. I tell you why, because this would be one wood piece. And we need to cut this. Perfect. And we need to cut this one. So the inner edge loop, like always. U, mark seam. Okay. A, U, unwrap, angle based. And still, now you can see there's a problem here. So let's just select this and see where okay, this is why. Just cut, we forgot to cut this, just cut this one here. Like so. And just deselect this. Oh, this is, sorry for that, this is pretty weird. Why was it? This was still selected. Not good. And this one. And U, mark seam, press A, U, unwrap, angle based again. Now you can see everything is cut. Good. Now we want to have this thing here. Let's bevel. So we want to have bevel this, and this, and this, and just Control B. Just to bevel it a little bit, and in solid mode, just shade smooth. Good. And you can also bevel this if you want. So you get rid of this shading issue. And then this is pretty easy to unwrap. You just need to pay attention to those edges here. So this one in the center, 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 and this one in the center, and this one in the center. Okay? And then U, mark seam. Object mode, Control A, all transforms, tab, A, U, unwrap, angle based, UV, boom. Perfect. But be careful, because if this is going to be wood, the fibers here are vertically, this is fine, but this one is not vertically. This would be a problem when we texture that. Of course, we can just mask it and rotate, But why make ourselves more stress? So pack islands without the rotation. And this one is pretty weird. Yeah, let's rotate this. Press A again, UV pack islands again, without the rotation. And then the wood fibers would all have the same direction. And then we can reveal this one. And now you have like one door, okay? I'm not paying too much attention now for a door handle. I think like a door handle we can just use like a cylinder and a sphere and stuff like that, but I'm not really paying much attention to that now. Alright, so this is like one door we can have. So let's click on this and click on this at the same time, Control J, so we join this, and then click on this, edit mode, press A, go to UV editing. You see this is overlapping now because we have two separate meshes. We had two separate meshes. Press U again, angle based, and then yes, and then you need to be careful because this one, yeah, we had to rotate this before, so be careful. Yeah, this one, just rotate this. Press A again, and then UV, pack islands, without rotation. Pack. Boom. And then if you're not really sure if this is going to look good or not, you can just go to the material, add this one, assign the checkerboard, and check the material preview, and you can see there's something wrong here. Don't ask me why that is. I know why, because those are n-gons. So we forgot that. Select all by trait, faces by sides, greater than 4. And then Control T. And now we can see still we have some problems because, let me just go one step back. So we only have selected those weird n-gons. So I totally forgot to get rid of this. And then we can actually unwrap angle based. And then scale it down. And then if you're not really sure how big this should be, it should really cover everything, like so. Let's pack again. Yes, and now you can see we got rid of those problems. So you just need to triangulate this inside, and then only this selected, you need to U and then unwrap the angle-based version. And then you can just pack those islands again. Okay, good. And in solid mode, it looks fine. So all those edges are beveled and everything is aligned. Perfect. Let's do a new collection. And we call this one here. And we call this one door. And we get the first door. So we need, unfortunately, we need to have 3 different types. Otherwise, it's going to look weird. What we can do instead to have different types, because I'm lazy, we can just Shift D click, only reveal the one we just duplicated, and then press 1, X-ray, and let's only select those things inside, P selection. So now you think like, what is it doing? So basically we can be a little creative here, and we can, for example, only get this one, this thing. So just make sure that everything here is selected. You can just click on one face, for example, and then Control plus, until you select this whole part. But of course it needs to be separate. Otherwise it's not really going to work. And then you can, press 1, X-ray, only select this top part with like including the bevel. And then GZ, do something like this. And maybe select this one as well and just scale it down like so. And then you can get, for example, you can get this one, this whole thing, SZ, and make it smaller like so. And then of course you're gonna have a gap here, so what you can do is just SX, make it a little bigger. So again, it's connected properly, and then G, Z, and put it down, like so. And then we can get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. So now you get the idea what I'm trying to do. Select everything, P, selection, get this one in object mode, and let's do an array. Okay, I don't have this array in my quick favorites. So array, X is 0 of course, and Z should be something like 4 maybe, or something like 8. Let's do 10. Then you can just repeat this. Let's do 6, and then 11. 1. So 11 is fine. Press G, Z, and just move it up so that this is centered. So this is one thing you can do, and then just apply that. Get this one and this one, and then just Control J. Select everything in object mode, all transforms. Select everything in edit mode. See the UV editing, U, unwrap, angle based. Boom. You can see this is a UV, this has UV, this has UV, this has UV. And those things. And it's all vertically aligned. Okay, good. So now we already have 2 different types of doors. Yeah. So get this and this, Control J. Then we need to select everything again, and then unwrap angle base again. So yeah, this means that this separated mesh is now, everything is combined, merged, and then, or joined, I should say, and then we fix the UVs, so it's sharing one UV space without overlapping, UV islands, everything's aligned. So yeah, looks good. Now let's do a third type, and then I think we're good to go, and then we can start another lecture maybe. So after this, after the third door, we can do window frames, and then we can take care of roof, which is like the hardest part. Still, it's not really that hard, but it is like, consider this a little harder. Okay, now let me get this first door again. Shift E, click. Call this door 3. And let's take care of this. Only this door. Maybe we can just get rid of this. We can get rid of this. Just X faces. And then we can press 1. Let's go into the X-ray. I have the X-ray, this button here. Right click and add to quick favorites. So I can always press Q and then toggle X-ray. I also did this for frame selected, which is here, view, frame selected. And I have snap, knife, face orientation. And I also have face orientation. And this is like merge at center. I don't need that, remove this. And the smart UV project, I don't need this. I don't need the knife, because you can just press K. This is the knife tool. You can just press K, so it's pretty useless. So yeah, I think this is fine. Good. Now we can actually let's delete this. Let's just take care of this. P selection. Click on this in object mode only. Let's GZ. Let's put it here. Then Control Shift click. R, hold Control and rotate. And then do scale it on all axes, like so, just a tiny bit. And put it here. Then you can get those things and just GZ. Okay. Now let's get, oh, sorry for that. Let's get this. So make sure X-ray is always enabled, pretty important, otherwise you're going to screw up. Z, S, Z, scale it. Then you can also get those things except for the center and scale it down. Like so. And then let's just scale it again. Like so. Let's get this one, GZ, and put it here. Let's see the shading. This is perfectly fine. And now you can get this one here, Control plus, spam the button here, the plus button. And we no, not by material, oh my god, P selection. Press 1. Let's put it here so we have a little bit more space. And then get an array. Let's do 5. Yeah, and then G, X, and align it properly. And then you can even increase this to 6 maybe. GX and align this. Like so. So this would be another type of door. We can also make this bigger. So let's go X-ray, select those things, GZ, and make something like this. Then we get this one. And we just do something like this. Then we can apply the array. Get this. So the UVs are already assigned. You can see those red edges. You can join them, Control J. And we can also join this, Control J, so everything is joined. In edit mode, press A, U, and unwrap angle based. All transforms, just make sure, and angle based. And then you can see the UV editing, and this looks fine. So now this is how fast you can be, having three different types of some like Japanese style doors. Good. So now let's hide this. And I think we don't need the door cut anymore, so let's just remove it. And then just Control S. And then this is already a long lecture, and we will just continue in the next one with the window frames. This is also quite easy to do. I already have an idea to make this quite easy. Yeah. Let's do that.